One thing, 5 different price reductions over the course of 5 weeks. You want to know what that is because it can affect the value of your home. Today we're going to talk about how to make sure your property is set up from the beginning so that you don't have to go through these 5-week, 5 reduction experience that one of our sellers had to do a couple of years ago. Let's get started. Obviously, what we're going to be talking about has to do with pricing strategy and what they did and what they shouldn't do. Number one, they listened to their friends, they listened to Zillow, and they said, well, I'll just price it at whatever I feel is an appropriate price, as opposed to the research that was provided for them. We told them, well, I'm not going to throw you off on that, but we gave them an idea of where the pricing should come in and how they came about that pricing, but they didn't want to listen to it. They wanted to go with what was out there, and it proved to be very financially expensive. Now, the first thing that happened is, of course, when you're priced higher than you really should be, nobody's going to see the property. Think about this. You know, when you're looking on the internet and you're looking for properties, you can see everything. You know about where the value should be. And all of a sudden you come across this home who's way overpriced. And your first instinct is going to be like, no, I don't want to see that. There's actually a couple other things that cause issues too. We'll cover in just a minute. But the first challenge is do not listen to Zillow. Do not listen to what your friends are suggesting. Listen to what the facts tell you. So here's the summary. What happened over that first week that they had their home on the market is they had no showings, none, zero. Boom, a big goose egg. And you can't negotiate if nobody's coming to look at it. So they said, what should we do? I said, well, obviously we suggested a price that's a little bit lower based on what the market will bear. I'll cover that in just a couple seconds. Why not go towards there? So they said, okay, well, we'll do that. And they came up with problem number 2. They said, but we want to leave room to negotiate. You cannot negotiate against somebody who's not in your home. The whole idea of marketing and everything we do and our pricing strategy is to cause buyers to want to see the home, come through, explore, and really fall in love with your home. They don't do that online, they do that in person. So getting them through the front door, that's what marketing and pricing together do. And they wanted to leave room for negotiating, which meant as opposed to being at the perfect price, they were higher. And that slowed down their traffic. Now we're into our second week. This is week 2. The first week we listened to our friends. The second week we left room for negotiating. They finally said, okay, let's take a look at what we really should focus on. So at this point we looked at what we were showing them, which is where we thought the home would appraise. What 3 properties would an appraiser use? And they made another adjustment. That was terrific, but there's another mistake in here. They limited their showing times. They said, well, we can't show it from here to here. Here's the idea. If buyers want to see it, we want to show it to them because they're the ones that we're trying to entice, not antagonize. So we want to make showings as easy as possible. They pick up the phone, they schedule a showing with their agent, they come and they see the property and they fall in love. That's the goal. So don't limit your showings. Great time. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button. And as always, thank you. At this point, I should also let you know that my wife, Jacquie, can't be here. She is actually at a showing, but I wanted to get this to you. We were talking about this video about how pricing can affect it. So we've listened to Google and Realtor.com and Zillow and our friends and everything else. We wanted to leave room for negotiating, and now we finally made an adjustment to where it should appraise. We followed what the appraiser's estimate would be, so we're within range of that. I'll cover that in a few minutes. And we limited our showings. So a couple buyers didn't get to see the property because it didn't fit within our schedule. Make it fit. We only need 1 buyer. We have to accommodate. Particularly when you're priced well, this should all happen pretty quickly. Even in markets like we're in right now. This is a challenging market where our inventory is going much higher very quickly. In Florida, we have the highest number of homes on the market as any other state in the country. So homes are still selling, but the ones that are priced well are selling fast. So now we've got showings and we received an offer on the property. So we negotiated our terms. We got everything set up exactly the way we wanted. The buyer wasn't in a competitive environment. That's a shame. We're going to cover that in just a minute. And we went through the inspections. The seller was under the impression that as is meant as is, and it does to some degree, but an as is contract stipulates that the seller and or the buyer can go to terms. Meaning, if a buyer comes and they say, well, listen, I noticed that there is a truss in your roof that is broken, or the roof is starting to sag, something they wouldn't know themselves, they can open up negotiations on this. And the seller has the right to repair that and address it, or the buyer can walk away. It is completely open to negotiating. What we want is a competitive environment where they're feeling lucky they won the home. So we worked through the inspection, we got everything straightened out. It didn't cost very much at all, but yet again, that's another reduction. And the appraisal gets ordered. Usually takes anywhere from 15 to 20 days for the appraiser to get out there. They're looking around the home, checking everything, checking the comparables. This is exactly what we spoke about earlier when we showed them the 3 homes an appraiser is going to use. And we were still a little higher than that, which is great. The home looks beautiful. They did a bunch of really nice repairs, remodels, improvements on the property. Their initial thought was they get dollar for dollar for those, but they don't. That's unfortunately not how it works. Kitchens and bathrooms return the highest return on your investment, and they're anywhere from 70 to 80% of the dollars invested. Everything else is substantially less, and just painting a house doesn't improve the value, unfortunately. So the appraiser comes to the home. The appraiser looks at all the homes that have sold in the area in the last 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, starts finding the best homes that are most like, meaning if your home has a pool, they're going to look for a pool home, and they come up with an appraised value. Here's number 5. The appraised value was lower than what we negotiated. Awesome. And the buyer said, no, I'm only going to pay appraised value. Now, we didn't have another offer in place, which is a shame. We probably would have had we not been on the market for 14 days and had our pricing strategy right to start with. Here's the bonus for you. Pay attention to this part. We did not receive the full offer that we negotiated because the appraised value came in lower. If you take a look at what it's going to appraise for, just a little bit above that if your home is in great condition, or a little bit below that if it's not, find out what an appraised value looks like, because 90% of the properties that sell at arm's length that aren't investor purchase properties are done with financing of some type or another, even with these crazy high interest rates. So we want to know what the appraised value is. We want to know what 3 homes an appraiser is going to use. And then we want to market the heck out of the property, make sure it can be shown all the time, and get multiple offers. Yes, that still happens with homes that are priced well, where there's a lot of traffic and everybody wants to see it because it's known to be a value. Not a giveaway, but we're not competing with those other people that have their homes ridiculously overpriced. We're within the market. That way, when the negotiations come up with an as-is contract, we can say to them something to this effect. We have another buyer who's interested in buying the property. If you don't want it, it's up to you. Let us know. We'll make the phone call. And you'd be amazed how many times all of a sudden all the issues go away. Negotiating is helping the buyer realize that they really won. Well, you won. Negotiating is helping all people come to a winning situation. My name is George Philbeck, and this is my wife, Jackie. She is, as I said, working with some buyers right now. We are here to help. We are here to answer questions. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you've got a comment, hit it down below. I promise we'll answer it. And remember, you don't have to lower your price 5 times if you start off with the right information. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye now.